Imagine then my surprise when one day my primary school teacher started pulling objects out of a suitcase, like this one, and naming them in French. Qu'est-ce que c'est? She asked. C'est une poupée. I was fascinated and went on to study languages at university. And it was there that I discovered linguistics, the scientific study of language. When I now tell people that I'm a language scientist, they're often confused. Science is something you do with a microscope, telescope, or stethoscope. Not many people realize that language can be the object of scientific inquiry. That's a shame because we all have experience with language, and as such, language and language science have the potential to get children interested in science more generally. I've also come to realize that not all 9-year-olds get quite so excited about language as I did back then. In fact, when asked, many children say that they find language difficult or boring. This negative attitude is a challenge for teachers in the Netherlands tackling the current decline in children's language abilities. Kletskoppen, Chatterboxes in English, addresses these challenges by organizing activities for children from diverse backgrounds so that they broaden their scope, their view of science, and increase their enjoyment of language. In our lessons in primary schools, children explore science through language. They learn what it means to be a scientist and to apply the scientific method while investigating topics such as multilingualism and language and DNA. In our festivals at libraries and community centres, children explore language through science, and they sometimes make some surprising discoveries. Let me share one with you now. What's this? A hand, right? So language scientists analyze speech sounds using a spectrogram. Here's a spectrogram for hand. What's this? A bag, right? Here's the spectrogram for bag. And finally, a handbag. So you might expect that the spectrogram for handbag looks something like this, a combination of the two, right? But actually what it looks like is this. Why? Because what many people say when they say the word handbag is in fact handbag. Now, perhaps you don't believe me, many children don't at first, but by engaging in activities of this kind, they realize that the way we pronounce words and language is more complicated than it first seems. They also discover the relevance of language science to everyday life. Understanding processes like this is crucial for developing speech-language technology like Siri or Alexa. Since 2017, we've taken Kletskoppen to locations across the country. The 4 festivals in our hometown Nijmegen have attracted, on average, 900 visitors. Last year, a quarter of those had limited science capital. After participating in our classes, children's view of how scientists do research becomes more diverse. Interviews with teachers confirm this and reveal that also their views of language and science have changed. Children enjoy what we do. We've seen children come to the festival in the morning as part of a school trip to return in the afternoon of their own free will with family and friends. Our festivals attract a diverse range of multilingual families, and languages around the world feature in our activities. Teachers and librarians repeatedly tell us that multilingual children feel empowered and proud when their linguistic abilities are seen as an asset and not as a liability. They feel seen and spoken to, much in the same way as I hope you did if one of the languages I started this pitch with was your native language. Kletskoppen is transferable and scalable, and as such has massive potential to generate even more impact. Over the past 5 years, though, we've learned that sometimes bigger isn't always better. Scaling down can be a more effective way of developing long-term relationships with local communities. We've also learned that you need to go to the people. Don't expect the people to come to you. And it's not just the children who are learning from us, we are also learning from them. At our next festival, we have a team of festival inspectors, and they'll tell us what they like, and more importantly, what they do not. Kletskoppen shows that language matters, that science matters, that language science matters. Dziękuję, shukran, dankeschön, thank you.
So how do you engage people outside the science festival or outside your lab? how do you engage the more audience outside the science festival?
Well, so the main things that we do with the festivals, it's usually in the library, and we've started doing that in the library in the city centre. But we also noticed that even for some communities, just going to the city centre library, even though it's free and open for everybody, is a challenge. So what we've also noticed now is we go out to the suburbs or outskirts of cities and do events in libraries there, and we also collaborate with local organizations and, for example, provide a final event to some program that they're running. So we go to where they are.
Yeah, hi. How do you manage with the technical words? For example, contamination for the car industry is completely different in contamination in the biological industry. How do you manage to teach this kind of technical words to the children?
We don't actually teach them any words as such. What we're teaching them is to look at language in a different way, right? So we're not teaching them different words in different languages for science-related concepts as such. We're showing them that you can study language in the way as you would study other things in the world around you, right? So that something that they use day in, day out can be surprising in ways that they hadn't thought about. And for many children, and also especially girls who often tend to be quite language-oriented rather than science-oriented, it's a way for them to see that, oh, you can look at science in a different way, and you can maybe get into science in a different way. And so science, I know science is used in different ways in different countries, but, looking at things in a scientific perspective, right? So applying the scientific method, that's what I mean by that.
We have another question here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. What is the specific language that you teach during these festivals? Is there a specific language, or is it like every possible?
Yeah, so again, we're not teaching languages, okay? So we're doing an activity or active demos like you would at any kind of science festival, where children, for example, will do something like this. And so in principle, it's in Dutch because that's the language of our community, but we encourage children to use all the other languages that they have, and we even have demonstrations or activities which really draw on those. Right, so for example, we have the language wheel of fortune with different languages on, and then the children are asked to engage in a kind of quiz with questions about different languages. And for once, this puts the multilingual kids at an advantage, because they're normally at a disadvantage, right? They're normally considered, oh, you know another language other than Dutch, your Dutch isn't very good. But in this case, they become the experts. Yeah.
Thank you.